Ray?
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for coming out today. Each year that I've had the real opportunity to serve the people of the 2nd Congressional District, I have had at the beginning of the calendar year a review of the agenda that I have for the coming year, and to go over different issues that I would be addressing and concerns, and it's an opportunity for me to let the people of the 2nd District know what the issues are that I'm working on, and then get input back. And so it's so helpful. And then major situation I have is good people like Aaron Harrison, who I appreciate is with our office here in Aiken-Barnwell. And we have good staff people with offices in West Columbia and Washington. And I just want to thank the staff for their dedication. And that's how we can expand our ability to serve. This cycle is particularly, I'm really pleased with the new Republican majority in Congress. I'm really grateful that I will be working with committee chairmen that I know very well. I am very grateful that on the Armed Services Committee, I will be a member of the Readiness Subcommittee and the Strategic Forces Subcommittee, key committees that are very helpful, particularly here in the Aiken-Barnwell area with the Savannah River site. It has jurisdiction there on different issues that are going to be very important, such as the pit production capabilities that are going to be so important for nuclear deterrence for our country. Additionally, I, on the Foreign Affairs Committee, will be the chairman of the Middle East, North Africa, and Global Counterterrorism Subcommittee. I'm looking forward to serving in that capacity. I also uniquely will be the chairman of the Organization of Security and Cooperation in Europe delegation of the United States, which is known as the Helsinki Commission. And I'm really pleased about that. And ironically, it's a commission that every 6 years, it rotates between the Senate and House to Senate chairmanships. And I'm very pleased. Uniquely, the House becomes chairman this year. And so I will be taking over from Senator Ben Cardin of Maryland, and I'm just grateful that a lot of what we do uniquely is actually bipartisan. We have significant working together on foreign policy issues, and we work very hard, and with Chairman Mike Rogers of the Armed Services Committee, we'll be working to be bipartisan on issues about America's national security. With that in mind, additionally, I'm really pleased that right away, with creating jobs, that right away this week, the House of Representatives passed the legislation to eliminate 87,000 IRS agents. This was an outrageous, crazy lunacy position of the Biden administration to create 87,000 agents, claiming that they would be going after people of wealth. Well, the people of wealth have accountants. They've already filed their taxes in such a manner that you wouldn't need agents. Sadly, this was going to be going after middle-income citizens and just be an intrusion in the lives of millions of Americans. And so I'm very grateful that the first thing that we did was to eliminate those 87,000 agents and to promote small businesses to be able to grow. Additionally, this week we passed legislation to provide for a review of the capabilities and the conduct of the Chinese Communist Party within the United States and around the world. We're in a worldwide conflict, and we want to keep it peaceful. And the way to do that is be prepared, be strong. And so I'm really grateful. That's why I'm so supportive of the people of Ukraine who are resisting Putin's aggression. I'm very grateful for the people of Taiwan, that they are stepping up to be defensively capable to deter China, and that obviously the people of Israel are working very hard to have a deterrence against the mullahs, the dictators in Iran. So that's the conflict that we're in worldwide. Additionally, I'm very grateful yesterday we had votes in This week we had votes to protect the lives of an unborn. That if a child is born alive, that and you would think that this could not be controversial, but sadly it has become. A child born alive should be given the right to live. It's inconceivable to me that there would be any other conduct of taking a child's life. It's just so bizarre. And then equally sad, there have been hundreds of attacks on pro-life centers, on organizations that promote adoption, and we had legislation to condemn violence, and we condemn violence of all kind against anyone, and that's why we're so supportive of the extraordinary law enforcement that we have in our country. And here in North Augusta, I appreciate the law enforcement. So proud of Sheriff Hunt and the conduct of our law enforcement in Aiken County. But additionally, I will be working to promote conservative agendas. It's always been important to me, somehow, if we could have a balanced budget amendment. I really adopted this from my predecessor, late Congressman Floyd Spence. In 1971, when he was sworn in, the first bill he introduced was to provide for a balanced budget amendment. It actually passed the House one time, and it got to the Senate, and it was only defeated by one vote. And so a lot of people say, well, that just can't be done. Yes, it can be done, and we've seen the benefit of state government in South Carolina by having a balanced budget requirement. Additionally, combating inflation, we need to have energy independence. On the way here, seeing the gas prices still as high as they are, that's such a, to me, unnecessary situation. But the Biden administration declared war on fossil fuels. Well, there's a consequence when you declare war on fossil fuels. That causes the price to go up. And for American citizens, when we were, under President Donald Trump, energy independent, we exported, and we can do it again. And so we'll be working, and I'm really grateful that Kathy McMorris-Rogers is chairman of the Energy Committee out of Washington State, and she's going to be a champion for energy independence for our country. And then safeguarding our country. It's just so sad and inconceivable to me to have the open borders and then have the president make a mockery of it by going to El Paso to where there is a fence, and to have millions of people coming into our country that we do not know who they are, and except we do. And that is, when I was at Del Rio a year and a half ago, I asked how many people had crossed on the terrorist watch list. And they were really nice, but they said, we can't tell you. And so that only encouraged me. Every time we would have a committee meeting, I would ask, how many people have crossed on the terrorist watch list? It took 3 or 4 meetings, but we ultimately found out just last year, over 100. We need to put this in perspective. These are on the terrorist watch list because they're highly educated, very skilled, well-paid mass murderers, each one. And the thought that we may have several hundred, that's just the ones we caught. Just think of the consequence to American families and what it means to law enforcement, that we have people who seek mass slaughter of American citizens, and that you would have an administration that does not and I say it sadly, they just are turned a blind eye. Clearly what the Biden administration is doing, and this is political, and that is that they see people coming across the border as low information voters, whether they speak English or not, God bless their hearts, and whether they assimilate or not. And we know the benefit of immigration where people assimilate and what they bring to our country, but they're looking at these individuals coming across as just people who don't know issues, and sadly, they perceive that they'll just be blindly voting Democratic. And I say that sadly, and because it's not a political issue. It's a national security issue. It's a health issue, a fiscal issue, particularly for communities that are overwhelmed with people who've come into the country looking for everything for free for every item. So the normal situation of immigration has just been truly distorted. by having an open border, but it puts every American citizen, every American community at risk. It's not just on the border. But as we develop again, I am really looking forward to this particular election, this session, no election for another year, so people are spared. And but I'm just grateful to be serving and be happy to answer any questions. But again, I'm just grateful to be in North Augusta. I'd like to remind people that I believe that the North Augusta City Hall is the most beautiful city hall in North America. And then I do notice that Mayor Rick Osborne has somewhat tried to copy in Aiken, and so maybe I'm not going to say who's most beautiful, but anyway, hey, the county with the most beautiful city halls there's no question, is Aiken County. So I'm just grateful to be serving, and with my heritage, I always like to point out my grandfather Wilson was born in Beach Island in 1888, and great-grandfather Wilson was born in Beach Island in 1860. And so I have a Aiken County heritage, even though I'm from the holy city of Charleston, and then I'm ecumenical like the people I represent living in Lexington. But hey, best wishes and late Happy New Year to everyone.
I do have a question. It's just about the border that you had mentioned. I did notice they were bringing in military. Are they going to continue to guard the border down in Texas? Because that is, to me, it's a national emergency. Like I said, with terrorism and disease and and fiscal money.
It is.
Costing the United States
You know,
taxpayers.
it's really sad that they're bringing the military very likely to facilitate people to cross.
Yeah. I don't know if they're going to try and use that, because I did hear on the news media they're going to take the big containers and put them and start making their own border down there.
Well, actually, sadly, the reason you saw the containers is that the Republican governor of Arizona had put the containers. The new Democrat governor is taking them down.
So they're just letting people pass regardless.
Yes. And it's for the wrong reason. I've been an immigration attorney. We have good immigration laws. Every time you hear this, we need new law. No, we've got good laws. It's like, hey, it's the same thing city council deals with every day. People come and municipal and state officials. I remember I learned a lesson one time. There was a riot at the University of South Carolina, and so I was a clerk for state senator at that time, Floyd Spence, and I said, Senator, there should be a law against throwing bricks at police officers. And he was very nice about it. He smiled and said, we already have laws, just enforce the ones we have. I learned that lesson really early on, and so we've got good laws. The laws should be enforced. But sadly, what you're seeing is actually a facilitation of doing away with fences, which puts every American family at risk. Hey, thank you all very much. Everybody have a great day. Can you believe not a cloud in the sky here?
Gorgeous day.
Okay, so.